There are three things in life that are certain: death, taxes, and kakank. Yes. Well, hello. Well, hello, Stone Cold crashing through your video scope. Guys, welcome back to Pencil to Pencil. When you see these three smiling angelic countenances on your video scope, that means a couple other things are certain besides death and taxes. Is that it must be Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST somewhere. It must be Skull 30 somewhere.
Bouncing skull.
Follow the bouncing skull. It also must be my favorite thing in the world. It's Pitch Me, I Must Be Dreaming time. Your boys are back, guys. Welcome to the live cast. I am your first host. My name is JAMAR Nicholas, and I always have a lot of things to say. You know that at this point. Couple of things with me. One, I am the second vice president of the National Cartoonist Society. Guys, there's a lot of real cool stuff happening this summer. Some announcements just came out. A very special Stone Cold Steve Conley is nominated for a Silver Rubin Award. Please, chat, give him some flowers, Steve Conley.
Steve, why don't you?
That's right. Cop it, why don't you?
Thanks, guys.
I'm also the Philadelphia chapter chair. And I also have a graphic novel series at Scholastic Graphics. Leon and the Big Problem will be in stores January 2027. Cop it, why don't you? Guys, I would be in remission if I did not introduce my co-host, cohort, and co-conspirator. Who else would I tilt at windmills with? You may know him by, you've seen that guy while you're driving through the rain, pushing water up against his body while he walks along the super highway. By God, it must be Stone Cold Steve Conley. What's up, Steve Conley?
Gentlemen, it is so good to see you. I'm so excited for another Wednesday. This is going to be a great episode. My name is Steve Conley. You may know me from the recent NCS nominations, which were announced. My humble little Tilting at Windmills, the middle age,
Yes.
Has been nominated in the Best Online Comic Long Form category among many great creators. If you don't know where to start reading comics or finding new comics, start with the NCS nominations list. And then at the end, get to mine. And it's a nice note to end on, I think. But in addition to this kind of loveliness, and thank you, NCS, I make TTRPG work, including Stabracadabra, Intoximancy, Nibblemancy. You can find it all at steveconley.com. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Tower of Power, the Man Hour, Too Sweet to Be Sour, Darkhawk's daddy, the cartoonist who walks, Mr. Mike Manley.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I am the man who drew your childhood, as they have come to tell me on these the mean streets of comics. And I just realized Facebook. I check my Facebook memories every day, and at the end of, the end of this month, or will be the 10th anniversary of me drawing the Phantom in print, which is crazy to me that I've been doing the strip that long.
Yo, chat, give it up for that. That's great.
You know, that's crazy. Yeah, I posted some strips on my socials that I had done like right in the very beginning when I was still drawing everything on paper, which I hope to go back to someday. But yeah, it's weird we were talking about that. The older you get, 10 years goes by and you go like, it can't be 10 years. It can't be 15 years, right? 15 years, 10 years seems like, oh, that was like 5 years ago. You know, it's crazy how time flies. But tonight's episode is started out as an idea from sort of Steve Rude's right-hand man, Tristan, who helps him out. And he suggested to me, we were talking on Instagram, he goes, oh, it'd be great to have Steve on with all you guys, and then all you guys could draw at the same time. So I mentioned it to Steve Rude, not our Steve. It's like we have two Scotties. you know. So basically, I don't know if anybody else has combined the streams of the YouTubes where we're sort of guessing on each other's, casts. So I thought, well, that's a great idea, And Steve likes to draw, and he does his podcast every week, which I like to watch. And he's launching his Kickstarter tomorrow, so we thought this would be perfect to sort of kill two birds with one stone. Have Steve come on. We all love Jack Kirby, so we're all going to sort of like draw a Jack Kirby character, and Steve's and his lovely wife Janelle are going to come on here in a second and give you guys all the sales pitch. Moon World Kickstarter.
Well, before we do that, I got to show this graphic. How dope is that? Behind the scenes, when we were kind of cooking this up, and I said, yeah, this should be kind of like the Scooby-Doo mystery. Like every time we do this, and it's like, with that special guest Don Knotts. So, yeah, shout out to Mike for drawing that and for Steve to compile that. Yeah, very excited. So, guys, this is going to be a XXL episode. We're going to go to 10 o'clock. And every second is counting. So I'm not going to dilly-dally anymore. Let's bring Janelle in. And let's talk about this Kickstarter. So let's get her ready for rendering. Welcome. Hold on. I'm not ready. Okay, now I'm ready. Welcome to Pencil.
Fuck
Janelle,
you, asshole.
Hello. Hey.
Oh, hey. I cannot hear anything.
Oh, no, you can't.
Oh, no.
We can hear you.
I can't hear anything.
Great. Maybe just tell her to just talk. You're good. Just talk.
Talk.
I got nothing.
You go ahead.
Go back to the.
Yeah, we can hear.
All right. We'll work on it for a
I
second.
got nothing.
Oh, maybe she has to turn the volume back up.
Fuck you.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Well, we hear Steve.
Hello, can you hear us now?
That's not working. Crap.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get back out and get back in. That worked last time.
Okay. All right. Well, we're good at filling pregnant silences. So so while they figure that out, we'll just talk a little bit about this idea. Now, I was very surprised / impressed that Draw and Jaw was so popular when we spent last month just doing, like, every week we were doing Draw and Jaw.
Yeah.
And that seemed to really pop really well. So I think adding a guest artist to this could really change the dimension of what we're doing. All right, Janelle's back. Let's see what we got. Hello.
Yeah. Hi. I can hear you guys now.
Awesome.
Yay.
All right, you have the floor.
Okay. So I heard nothing of anything that you guys said before you put me on. So.
We only said good things.
Oh, well, that's sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hate being on camera, so you guys get a once in a lifetime appearance from me because I'm never on camera. But Steve wanted me to kind of introduce the Kickstarter that launches tomorrow.
Steve,
So we're launching tomorrow the Thune World Artist Edition, which is our huge oversized book. If you back between 10 and 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 1 to 2 Eastern, then you get $50 off the gallery editions. And all the main editions come with this free set that you're looking at. So that's an 11 by 14 Nexus family print, the Nexus sticker, a 9-set trading card, and a double-sided bookmark. That is our early bird special that runs all weekend through Sunday. And then because it's also free comic book day, we wanted to throw in a free book for you. So you can also, it's not quite free, But when you back, this is kind of like a preview to the preview. So in order to fund Thune World, we did these preview, what we called ash cans, and each one mirrors the comic books that came out. So each one of these is like 36 to 56 pages. It's a full book. We will randomly pick one, but then we will also give you the full 5-book PDF preview. So you'll get all 5 books included for one low price of $25.
Wow.
And some of those are signed. During checkout, post campaign, you can choose to definitely get one signed for $10. So for $35, you get one signed book and a full set of PDFs. That is our free comic book day weekend special, and that also runs from the time the campaign starts all the way through Sunday night.
Wow, awesome.
Great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we're going to run that graphic along the bottom of as the show goes on. So
Yeah, and if somebody doesn't want to back the gallery edition, they can just back. We have what we call the Studio Crew Pass for $5, and then they get access to all these as add-ons.
That's great. That's so great.
Yeah.
awesome.
And if you already backed on BackerKit, because we did start this on BackerKit because they have the best system right now for Patreon and a few of the extras, then we sent BackerKit hidden links to just back for the exclusive, so they can still get these with free shipping added on because the shipping will be charged in BackerKit.
Oh, okay, great.
And if folks go to that URL you can see on the screen there, steverude.com/ThuneWorldAE, then you can sign up to be notified when the campaign launches, so you can't miss it. So it's pretty awesome.
Yes. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, I will answer them. Otherwise, I will go find Steve and have him get to the drawing board.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Janelle.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
I will flip this camera around to the drawing board.
All right. And
And
let
then go find the dude and tell him it is time. All right, it is time.
It's time for his close-up.
sorry, time for your close-up. And guys, I see a lot of new faces in the chat. This is your first time watching Pencil to Pencil. Please let us know where you're from. And also, we've been doing this for a long time, y'all. Is this year 7, Mike?
7th. We're in our 7th year of doing this now.
So man, we've got an archive. So it would behoove you to like this and also subscribe. All right.
And to also like Steve's podcast and
Yes.
subscribe. Double subscribe.
So hey Steve, how are you?
Yeah, I'm here, guys. I'm ready to rock.
All right.
Fantastic.
All right. Welcome back, Steve. I hope you can talk and draw.
Yeah, not a problem. I've been doing it for 50 years. So,
Steve, we had so much fun with you a couple months ago when you were on for the first time. And yeah, a big shout out to Tristan for cooking this up. So we just needed an excuse to get you back on.
yeah, well, that's nice. I think doing things like this is it's hard to go wrong with it. It's just a super benefit to everyone who can see the things that we never saw ourselves when we were growing up that they can now see. So that's just a great thing. How can you go wrong with that?
That's awesome.
Cool.
So we thought the common thread is everybody loves Jack Kirby, so we would all draw a Kirby character. Who's your favorite Kirby character, Steve?
Well, no one with a right mind can actually claim that, but I just picked something that was dear to my high school years. That was very dear, and something that made such an influence on my life that it's hard to understate it. And that was something I missed out when it first came out. But I had a friend in high school that somehow collected all these issues right here. This is one of them right here. and that was Jack's early DC period that I only heard about. Actually, you read an article in the New York Times about Kirby defecting to DC, and that would have been around 1970. So I knew these books were coming out. I knew he defected from Marvel, rightfully so, and was now working at DC. So later on, I got a chance to see these issues through my friend's collection, and then, of course, get them myself. And they were just world altering and changed my whole perspective on what I was about to embark on for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I remember those really impacting me. That was 1970, and that was a big year for me because I remember Neil Adams doing Batman, and then I remember Kirby, and I think Kirby was the first comic artist that I knew because DC was promoting him, which was not usual for DC to do. So they kept saying like Kirby's coming or the King is coming, and I had a couple of those issues because around that time you didn't get every issue of every comic. You might get that one, and then you might miss one, and then you might get the one after that. But I remember those issues because Superman looked so much more super than the Kurt Swan stuff that I was used to reading as a kid. And I remember that the DN aliens, the guys with the forearms that he was fighting, that stuff just like melted my brain. And I was like 10. I remember reading them on my front porch as a kid and going like, this is like great and kind of crazy at the same time.
Well, this goes to show that in the right hands, anything is possible in comics.
Yeah. So what struck you the most? Do you remember what struck you the most about seeing? Had you seen Kirby stuff before that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was in high school by the time I saw these books here, just starting high school, and I was well familiar with all Jack Kirby's Marvel work because when I would go to the newsstands, or rather the spinner racks, he was always there. So he was something that I relied on to inspire me throughout my youth. And he always delivered. He never did not deliver to me.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't get the stuff. I mostly got DCs for some reason. Where I lived or where I went, I usually got DCs. And then there was a little mom and pop store down the street that I started getting Marvels, but they were the reprints and the covers were ripped off. So that's what I saw first, like Marvel Tales and Marvel's Greatest Comics. That's when I first started seeing the Kirby, the Marvel Kirby stuff. So I saw those crappy cartoons we used to watch. I saw that stuff before I think I ever saw an actual Marvel comic with the full cover. It wasn't until after we moved that I found a store or my dad had a part-time job. And at that part-time job across the street, there was a drugstore that sold Marvel stuff. But by that time, I think Kirby was almost ready to go back to Marvel when he went back and he did the Captain America and the Mad Bomb and all that stuff. So it's funny how in our generation, everybody's induction into seeing stuff could be so different depending upon where you lived.
Yeah, and those reprints you're talking about, I got those too because I was picking up in things that I never got around the first time. But that's part of the trend where Marvel would reprint everything and not pay the creators a cent for it.
Mm.
You got to hand it to these guys. They just knew how to do business first and decency later.
Well, did they ever learn the decency part?
Not once. And whoever made a thought to put them on the right path didn't speak up loud enough, or they get fired.
Yeah. So what was your favorite character out of that? Was it the Guardian or the?
Well, can you see this issue right here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so when I got this, you notice his sign down there. Can you zoom in on that?
I can. You can. hold
Can't
it.
zoom. I don't think. Oh, perfect. Oh,
Yeah, that's good.
What's it say?
wow.
Wow.
That's wild.
So when I got these signed by Jack at his home, I didn't bring 100 comics. Being a person of restraint, I just brought my all-time favorites, and that's all I wanted. And he signed them to me, and they're worth more than anything. I mean, I wouldn't sell these. Well, maybe for $1 million, but nothing less. So I opened up these things. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I mean, how can anyone look at this and not be changed for the duration of their lifetime? I mean, everything about this was something that no one else could even begin to approach. And to this day, all the hundreds of artists that have come afterwards, after this material was out, haven't learned a damn thing of how to equal this guy. For some reason, they don't even try, and maybe they shouldn't. But this is unequaled. It never will be equaled. We're looking at Einstein compared to, some second-rate college almost grad in the theories of physics. So it's not possible. But if you look at every single thing on here, it's unspeakably perfect. And then I came to this page right here, and I got to this page and this page right here. So I remember the sequence of these 4 panels here being something that I can't even put words in, so I don't even try. But with that in mind, I took one of these panels here and I blew it up and I transferred it onto illustration board, made a few modifications to make it more rude-like, for whatever that's worth. So I ended up doing something like this. It's already drawn up, so I wouldn't have to worry about the draftsmanship part of it.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is what I got right here.
Wow.
So I'm going to watercolor this in because I wanted to take on the challenge of adding color and tone and see if I can make that work, because that's always a challenge. It's not something you can do in your sleep. So I'll project this up here, and wisely, I a little ahead of time did a little rough in color. So that's what I'm kind of going to try to work off right there. But it still needs a lot of help when it comes to the rendering part of it. I have to be very careful, since I'm dealing with transparent paint, about how this thing has to read just right.
That looks great. I love
So
it.
I'm ready to start when you guys are. I can't see what you're doing, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing.
Well, our plan tonight, Steve, is to kind of share the camera.
Right. Yeah. I was
our
hoping you do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Conley and I are going to kind of both be the maestro on the boards here. So let's see what the other guys are doing. Mike, what's on your plate right now?
Let me show my screen.
And hopefully we don't break the internet tonight.
This is what's on my screen right now. Can you see that, Steve?
I should. Oh, this Steve. No, I can't see it yet. No.
So that's what's on my screen right now. A nice blank, scary sheet of paper. And so I'm going to work digital. And
shame on you.
Yeah. Well, in order for me to set up my rig, it always takes a long time to set up my rig. And I really need a new rig to film myself drawing, because the way I have it set up now, partially blocks my vision. So I have to have the camera at exactly the right angle.
That's another reason not to use digital.
You know. No, if I'm using digital, I don't block my view. If I'm using the drawing on paper, it always takes time. So.
All right, let's see what you guys got going on here.
Okay. Steve, what do you got? I'm sorry, Conley. Tom Zoller told me I have to call you Conley tonight.
That's fair. I am sharing this. I basically just started with kind of trying to think of a Kirby character shape. Like when I think of him, I think about like characters that are always sort of spring-loaded. Like they feel like they could just, even in repose, they feel like they could just leap out at you at any second.
Hey, that's yours, Steve, right there?
Yes.
Okay, good work. Good work.
Oh. Okay, I can retire. But that's the raw pieces where I'm starting right now. I'm just trying to think of all that coiled energy of his figures.
Awesome.
Well, it's not easy to get any sense of replication with Jack, so it was a good try.
Yeah, that's a Temu version at best. A low rent version.
Mm-hmm.
The Kirkland version.
And Jamal, you've got something set up, don't you?
Yes, sir. I just went with classic Doom.
Oh, that's nice.
So this is kind of where.
Oh, great. Excellent.
This is kind of where I am right now. Thank
Excellent. You. Are you going to just draw that or paint it or ink it or what?
I'm going to ink it and see if I can slap some color on it. We'll see.
Great. Good. I won't be alone with that, huh?
We'll see where we end up tonight. Thank you. All right, guys. The clock is ticking. Let's go.
I haven't seen Mike's drawing yet.
Oh, hold on. Let's put him back on. Hold on. I got to remove me. Hold on 1 second. All right, now. All right, there you go. Mike's already at it.
So you're doing the thing, huh?
Yeah, that's always been my favorite Kirby character. The second one would probably be Captain America. But I always like drawing the Thing. I mean, it's just such a fun design.
Even when that band cigars in his mouth.
Yep.
What a world.
So we're just going to push the camera around for a while, and everybody can just get started. And also for the chat and everybody who's hopefully paying attention to the sound of my voice, we're going to go to 10 p.m. EST, and wherever we are, kind of like 10, 12 minutes before that, pencils down.
Okay, pencils down, 10 o'clock. We got it.
Gotcha. All right.
And then if you guys have questions, you can ask us.
I hope so. I'm going to troll the chat and see if anybody's had anything to say so far. D Fish, who was nominated for Silver Rubin this year, is in the chat getting flowers. So congrats, D. A couple people checking in. So yeah, guys, ask questions while you're agog of this artwork.
This is way too far away.
I can try from the other side.
Yeah, good idea. We're gonna switch the camera, get it closer. This is way too far away for us here.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about Mr. Manley. So Mike.
Yes.
I have it on good authority that you enjoy the Thing.
Yeah.
The ever-loving blue-eyed Thing.
Yeah.
What is it that connects you to Mr. Grimm?
I just think it's monster stuff. I mean, he drew such great monsters, and that's such a great design. I don't know how you could ever get bored drawing it, you know. And I also it was obviously one of Jack's favorite characters. I think it was also one of his favorite characters. You know,
Mhm.
I think it really, Kirby also had a humorous side to his, because he was a cartoonist. He was a real cartoonist. And you could see it in, especially with, I think with the Thing, he was the character that he could add a little tragedy and then a little bit of humor at the same time.
Hmm.
And it's just a fun, a guy made out of rocks. It's just like a fun
Right.
design process too, right?
Mhm.
And it's sort of interesting how the character evolved from like the first 5 issues and the first 20, and then I also think that Joe Sinnott had an effect because his inks on Kirby, I think, actually influenced Kirby a little bit, which I don't think was typical of people who inked him. I think especially on the Fantastic Four, if you look at, I was going to say somewhere like in the mid 30s, because like when Chick Stone and guys like that were inking him, it was okay. But when Sinnott came in, he really added that extra, finesse and I think that especially on that book, like I really loved Giacoya inking him on Captain America because he added that. He kept some of that sort of chunkiness that Kirby had, that sort of wedging chunkiness.
Mhm.
But he still also did things like, added with like the drapery and the hair and the hands and things like that. There's that weird to me the guys who could add or embellish without overpowering his stuff.
Hmm.
And so that's my trinity is sort of like first it's Sinnott, then it's Giacoya, and then after that it's Royer, and Kirby's work changed too because that whole arm drawing that he did when the paper was twice up, you can see in the pages once they reduced the size of
More. I want to see this more.
you can see how that affected his art.
Mhm.
Mike, D Fish just asked, Mike, outside of Kirby, do you have any other Thing artists that you enjoy?
Well,
Bruce has a good Thing.
yeah, Bruce Timm is good, because he does sort of his own version of Kirby, and John Buscema, he was a little rounder. His stuff wasn't as angular, but then again, when Sinnott inked it, it really sort of kept it consistent. And I think Michael Ringo did a nice thing. Even Ron Wilson did a nice thing. I used to like his stuff, especially when Sinnott inked him. So to me, sometimes the later or other versions of Barry Smith.
Okay.
Barry Smith did because he's like a Kirby based artist, and I think he really got it. He really got the Thing. There's that I think it was an unpublished story that he did, and then there was that Marvel Fanfare issue that he did with the Thing. So it also depends upon how people draw his muzzle, right? Because Kirby drew, it's his bottom jaw, right? So he has that little muzzle and the little teeny nose. It's this part that a lot of people sort of forget. They don't get that part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the muzzle, the underbite, whatever.
Yeah. Like I never I remember watching that Fantastic Four cartoon as a kid, and I never liked the way they drew the Thing, because like his face didn't look cool.
Right.
Yeah.
He had that like a pack of hot dogs around, hot dog buns. Like 2 rolls of hot dog buns for his mouth. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me it was like figuring out the prominent cheekbones Kirby gave people. Like the Thing and the Hulk have very prominent cheekbones. And that kind of changed how I drew. I remember my first exposure to Kirby was in weird ways. Like they were like all secondhand bookstores and things like that. And there was a series of digest-sized books that Marvel put out where they basically just sliced and diced the original runs of Spider-Man, Windsor Smith, Conan, and that was my first. So the first FF I read were the first stories, and it was all Kirby. And by that, his name was plastered big on those books.
Mm. Hey, let's check in with Mr. Rude. Steve, how you doing over there?
Well, we're trying to get a presentable image here, and it's not working out because the goddamn thing won't zoom on me.
Well, this is really good right here. If you can keep it here, that's great.
All right, well, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you can actually see what I'm doing, but not very well.
Yeah, no, this will work. This will work.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start, okay? Putting in the washes here, and you guys just keep doing your thing too, okay?
Okay.
Will do.
Steve, well, as you're getting started, I want to ask you about the position of your drafting table. Have you always drawn that kind of straight up, or more?
Well, it's at the proper angle for the way things are supposed to be, which is parallel with your eye view.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not distorted.
Gotcha.
Because anything less than a right angle is going to distort. So I'm trying to do that.
You heard it here first, guys. I know a couple of cartoonists who do it, but you know what? Not as many cartoonists as you would think draw I kind of call it drawing vertically, so to speak.
Yeah, even Kirby didn't. His board was kind of flat, slightly angled, but it was not. It was not vertical. When I was in school, one of the things, my first year, they talked about the position of you as the artist against your easel. And what happens is, if you're too close, let's say you're painting a portrait or you're doing a cast study or something, if you're too close, you automatically distort because you move your head up and down. You don't see the whole image at one time. So if you see those pictures of the old artists in the old days, they're always like the arm's length away from their canvas. And that way you don't get a distortion, right? Because if you do this, if you raise and lower your arm, you will automatically distort. So that's one of the reasons why the artist stand arm's length away from their canvas, which is not something you usually read in a lot of books on painting, portrait painting, whether you're doing sight-sized or things like that. So yeah, the position of your head, like it's easy if you're leaning on your board and your board is distorted, like leaning away from you, you will think, oh, it looks good. And then when you straighten the canvas up, you go like, whoa, that's too long. It gets distorted. So.
Let's see. Let's check in with Manley. So you got some stuff going on.
You guys are all working with normal tools, as I call it, right? Not digital or anything.
Oh, I think we're all digital tonight. Besides you,
I'm the only holdout.
Besides you, sir. No, if I kind of like what Mike was saying, is I have to kind of get my rig together to do a traditional drawing on camera, but it's not out of my mind to do it.
So what I'm doing here is I'm just beginning the layering based on intuition and long practice.
Mhm.
I'm just going by feeling, because after a long time of doing this, you tend to get a feel for being internally directed and where to go. So that's what I'm trying to do right now.
I like it.
But doing this color rough was a big help. Big help.
That's great.
There wasn't a big transition period for me when I started working digitally. Originally, I started working digitally when I got my first Apple computer. I had the Wacom, but that was before you drew on the screen. You looked at the screen and so it took a little bit of work, but I actually got the hang of it after a while, where I could look at the screen and draw. It took a while to sort of rearrange my brain, but I think the only way I can work digitally is because I had, basically 35, 40 years of drawing traditionally before I ever went digital, right? And I do it because of speed and necessity for producing the 2 strips. But I completely rely upon my analog or meat world speed.
Meat brain.
Yeah, especially when it comes to inking, because it's all muscle memory. And if you want a line that looks like a certain kind of feel, the digital tools even everything out. And so if you want something that looks like a Joe Sinnott line or an Al Williamson line or an Alex Raymond line or a Milton Caniff line, you want a different kind of feel to your line, you have to sort of engineer it. It does not happen naturally, and the only reason I know that is from all the years working, traditional.
Oh, how's everyone else doing right now?
Good. I'm good. I'm still laying out my Victor Von Doom.
And I have never figured out how Kirby makes hands work. Yeah, I think I started learning to draw looking at Kirby, and I was not understanding how anything was constructed, and I was just creating this kind of weird exterior of a Kirby on top of something that just was poorly constructed, and I still can't figure out his hands. I look at some of them, and they're pure storytelling, and he makes them look good. I don't know how he does it.
I like that. Pure
Well, I have an idea of how he kind of does that. If you just look at the function of a hand, even with all his distortions of the knuckles and all that, it still looks like a hand gripping something, which is what you're supposed to do when you draw hands.
Yeah.
So it's all there. It's just through a different lens, but somehow it works. And to me, it was exciting to see what he did with hands.
And the weird thing I discovered once, studying Kirby, is that even though it's very distorted, if you silhouette it, the muscles are pretty much where the muscles should be, right? The deltoid is where the deltoid should be, the bicep and the tricep and the forearms and the elbows and everything. It's just that, the rhythm lines are what the rhythm lines would be if you were drawing more naturalistically, which is what John Buscema learned from studying Jack Kirby, because John Buscema's drawings are basically his more naturalistic drawing, combining those rhythm lines that, that he got from Kirby. Because if you look at his early work, the first several issues he did, it doesn't have that. You know, it doesn't. He doesn't have that. But by the time he was doing like the Silver Surfer and stuff like that, he really learned from Kirby how to really break and push those rhythm lines. And that's something that I sort of I hacked that by studying that, studying, how he made it work. So Kirby, what Kirby said, one man can be a school for another. I think he said in the Eisner interview. So, everybody was trying to make their stuff. You even see that with Gene Colan. He sort of picked up on that same thing of the rhythm lines and the shapes, even though he would try to add, more, light and texture and, folds, he would use photography, but he still was picking up on that shape language of the rhythm lines from Kirby.
Jamal, yours is looking very good.
Oh, thank you, sir. Now I'll put it back on the screen. Thank you. All right, and let's go.
Not easy to do, Kirby. Not easy at all.
Let's go over to Steve Conley, 316.
Try not to make like a parody of it. He made it look so easy.
Earlier, Steve Conley, 316. D Fish asked you who were you drawing tonight? Because I don't think you said.
Oh, it's a character of his called Silver Star. I think I saw someone mention it in chat, and so let me look that up.
Yeah, it was D Fish.
Was it? That's fantastic. Part of me wanted to draw one of his characters in my style to see if or draw my character like as his Volstagg the Enormous from like the Thor and see how that works. See if I can add anything to my quiver.
Quiver, that's bow language. Bow language, isn't it? From bow and arrow.
Yeah, for bow and arrow. Yeah.
Oh.
There's an interesting question here for Mike Manley. Our man Tristan asks, Mike, you have history with the dude, correct? That sounds like fighting words to me.
I think I remember the first time I met Steve, and this was at a show, I believe, in New Jersey, near Trenton, New Jersey. And I think you had just done, or you were working on the Johnny Quest. No, not the Johnny Quest, the Space Ghost thing. And that was for Kamiko, right?
Right. That was 86, I think.
Yeah. So that's what I remember that. I think that's when I first met you.
What a moment.
Yes, the stars fell out of the sky.
I love it.
Well, it's always interesting to meet someone in person. You can tell everything about their character when you meet them in person, can't you?
Yeah, it's a pivotal moment of any relationship. Also it's in modern times there are a lot of people, I'm sure, that have long-standing relationships but they've never met in person. That's what the internet did.
Yeah, that's right.
That happened with Kirby and Sinnott. I don't think that they met until much later. They didn't meet, I think, initially when they were working on the Fantastic Four, which seems crazy, but
yeah, that's the power of the mail system, isn't it?
or the old one, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to zoom in on Mr. Rude, see how he's doing. I love these attacking that color.
The hard part is going around things, which is not a natural way to think, if you ask me. It's kind of reverse logic to me. Always has been with the watercolor. That's why it's been so hard to figure out.
Do you ever use masking fluid, or what kind of masking fluid do you use if you do use it?
I don't use it because it temperamentally doesn't fit the way I think. I just don't like it. I don't get it, you know. And if I don't get it, it's better to avoid it. It's like using an airbrush. I tried it for years and I just never picked up on it. So I just decided to get rid of it and try to work a method without soft edges and blends without using it.
So why don't you tell us about your meeting with Kirby? How did you work that out?
Well, when you're living in LA, you tend to have a lot of friends that are acquainted with these guys, you know, because they're all wanting to go over to his home and meet him and all that stuff.
Right.
So you kind of got to know the people that were doing that kind of thing. And the first time that I was over there, there was a shipment of DC Comics original art that came in. And that's when I just pulled out my checkbook, and I still have all those pages. And you know, it's not something I'll ever part with, because it's not the kind of thing you just give up on and try to make a buck off. That's just not right to me. So I don't do that. But they're always going to be with me because of what they represent, which is something that to me is priceless.
So what did you pick up? What were they getting back? What was coming back?
It was a lot of stuff from the Jimmy Olsen books, and I was very interested in picking up the Coletta work because I like the way Coletta did he tempered Kirby's work with the squiggles and stuff, you know, whereas Royer and other people would go in and go over exactly what he did. I wasn't a big fan of that. I thought it produced a lot of distortions, and if you want me to, I can show you some examples of what I mean later on. But there was stuff when I first got acquainted with comics again, that Kirby was doing when Royer had taken over, and I would look at some of the stuff and say, "What the hell is this?" I mean, it was inked exactly as he drew it, every pencil line, and it ended up being, to me, a mistake. But that was Royer's warning from Jack. You know, do it exactly the way I drew it. So you can't fault Royer.
Also, you know, Kirby drew different then. You know, he was drawing a little bit. Like I said, I think if you look at the prime Fantastic Four, which is before they switched the paper size, and you look at his drawing, especially like on the FF and Captain America, there's a magnificent sense of gesture because the page was bigger. He was using his whole arm. And you can tell when the page got smaller because it's sort of like his work was still bigger, but the page was smaller. You know? I think it constipated him a little bit.
Well, he was never meant to work small like that, and in fact, he never really did. It was just the damn publishers insisting they can save same space and money and all that kind of crap that they always talk about. Right. But he could have worked twice up as he was comfortable. He never got comfortable with it, according to people that I know. Never.
So is that why you worked twice up?
No. I've always worked traditionally, like up by 17, because that's the way I started. But in time, like with this new Nexus work, I realized I could draw any size I wanted. So I did. It's actually 13 and a half by 19, almost 20 inches. So that's a wonderful way to work.
Looking good. All right, I'm going to cut over to Monsignor Mike Manley. How's it going, Mike?
It's going okay.
This would be a great time for me to remind the chat. Hey, chat, guess what? We do this every Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST. If this is your first time, it would behoove you to stick around. We have a thick archive with 2 C's. Well, archive has a C and a 2, so it's 3 C's. 7 years of interviews, content, boot camps, live drawings, inking demos. It didn't start tonight, you guys.
Pleading with the art gods.
and even a fantastic interview with Steve Rude from a couple months ago. So please please subscribe, and hit that alert bell so you get notified when we drop another John. Thank you.
Our John thanks your John.
That's right.
Are you familiar with the term John, Steve?
Hold on, I turned this mic off. I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Are you familiar with the term John, Steve? Have you heard about the John?
Something that has to do with bodily waste.
It could be. Like, yo, man, you made it. What's a John? You just evacuated, sir.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Steve John is a Philadelphia super noun. Okay. So it kind of can be a placeholder, a filler, or a word you use when you don't really need to give any more information. So I'll give you an example. So say we're in the cheesesteak place, and you need some ketchups, and you just reach over and go, "Hey, yo, put like 4 of those Johns in the bag." They know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like it could be person, place, animal, or thing. It's like it's this. I remember when I first moved to Philadelphia I came from Michigan, so people are saying John. I'm like, what are they talking about? What the hell is a John?
I mean, these are colloquialisms.
Yes. So you will be an honorary Philadelphian, Steve, after one more episode.
Good. That's what I get from being from Wisconsin.
All right, let's see what Conley's up to. You're on the spot.
Oh, no. Keep throwing in little Wally Woodisms because I can't help myself.
It's looking good, sir. So Conley,
yo,
I will admit I don't think this will make anybody too uncomfortable. I will say that I am a late comer to Kirby.
What?
Well, because if you know my lore, you guys, I came up in comic strips. Like I wanted to be a comic strip artist, and all the comics that I ever got from the corner store never had covers. They're all
like me, yeah.
The 3-pack with the covers ripped off. So I didn't really know who did stuff. And later, as I got into comics, Kirby was like, he was kind of like not at Marvel anymore, and I was never a DC guy. So I kind of learned about him late.
You were never a DC guy, so you always
no. I was never I was a straight Marvel zombie. That's kind of how I started. So when I finally got into him, and I went, oh, okay, I get it. And he was one of those guys that no one could replicate. I thought that was always cool.
he was stylistically, he was, by the time I saw him, like well, I mean, I saw his early FF, and I didn't really make the connection by the time I was a real Marvel guy, and then when he left Marvel, I kind of lost track of him. And then when I saw things like Hunger Dogs later on, I thought it was so stylized that I thought the inker had kind of tried to override what he was doing in some way, where it didn't really register with me. Took me a while to get to even know he was doing all that stuff at DC, and then try to devour it in my later years. But it was definitely a period where his stuff appealed to me more as a kid, and as I got older, I started getting more into, I don't know, more naturalistic creators. And then there's a period where you just kind of bounce back, and I think that for me, I immediately warmed up back to his work as soon as I don't know, aged out of that kind of bias toward Neil Adams and toward because in my head you had to go in one direction or another, and you couldn't go in both the Neil Adams direction and the Jack Kirby direction.
Right, you had to pick a lane.
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that, because that summer, I remember there's that detective, where it's the big Two-Face cover, and Batman's tied on the ship and he's sinking, right? And then I'm seeing that, and then I'm seeing Kirby. But then Adams was also doing the covers, and he even inked Kirby. So, like, right from the very beginning, is sort of like a crisis going on, because, like, well, I really like this, but I also really like this, right? And there's that point at which you're not old enough or sophisticated enough to be able to figure out, like, well, I really like this, and it's really different, but I also like this stuff. So I was always split from the very beginning, because I loved Kirby and I always loved Neil Adams. But I also loved Chuck Jones and more Drucker, right? And I was thinking the other day, or a little while ago, I loved Mad Magazine as a kid. And in Mad Magazine, you got all these different styles. I mean, you got Drucker and Jack Davis and
Aragonés, and sure.
Yeah. And so I don't think I had that like, some people like a certain style and that's it, the door's closed and they don't like anything else. And I never really developed that. There's stuff I like better than other stuff, but even though if you're looking at a Phantom strip or something, you probably would never think that. I'm probably just as hugely influenced by Chuck Jones, or actually Maurice Noble, that sense of design, right, that you get in those great Chuck Jones cartoons, and probably that Hanna-Barbera stuff that Toth did. It infuses in you. You don't necessarily pick it, but you're influenced by it.
Word up.
I never felt like you had to choose, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's definitely later on when I started liking, Toth and Wood and Steve Rude and Mobius and Yves Chaland, and it's like there's no way to bring all those together without kind of having to forge your own way. And how do you like Louis Trondheim and Russ Heath?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's certain pivot points for me, I think, as a kid. It was that Kirby stuff, and then the Neil Adams stuff. And then I remember we went to the beach in Canada, and I got the Sergeant Rock issue by Russ Heath, where he drew all the, they're fighting these Nazis in the snow. And that it's probably one of the most influential comics that I ever saw, because I was just mesmerized by the way he drew the snow by not drawing the snow. It was all negative space. But again, as a kid, you can't figure that all out,
All right, we're going to go back over to Mr. Rude, see how he's holding up.
There's a delay here of at least 5 seconds here. I'm trying to adjust this damn thing with absolutely zero success here. It's driving me nuts. So nobody can really see me doing it the way it should be. Gotta hate these things.
We're making it work.
Yeah.
Let's see. So there's a question that's for everyone. I'll guide us through this. Paul Pate, what up, Paul Pate? Paul Pate asks, what is the consummate Kirby that everyone must have? And I'll start with Conley. Any recommendation?
Man, it's all so good. I would go with Fantastic Four #1. Any decent reprint of that is just amazing.
Okay. How about you, Manley?
I don't know. I mean, my favorite stuff is probably still the first Marvel stuff. I love that Captain America stuff he did in the 60s. But then again, I love, there's like 4 Kirbys. There's the 40s Kirby, the 50s Kirby, and there's almost like 2 50s Kirbys, because there's the almost straight Kirby stuff that he was doing when he was doing like My Greatest Adventures and all that stuff at DC, when he did his most naturalistic drawing. And then you see him evolve into what we think of as Kirby, right? Because most of us think of, the cosmic stuff with the Kirby dots and, all that stuff. And then there's the later version of Kirby, which is, for me, almost an abstraction of his 60s stuff. So what was really interesting is, talking to Al Williamson, who actually inked Kirby's stuff in the 50s. And his favorite Kirby stuff was the Kirby stuff from the 40s, because that's what he saw as a kid. Right? He was like, oh, the stuff, the Fantastic Four, yeah, that's okay. But that's not the Kirby stuff he liked. He liked the Fighting American, back to Boys Ranch and stuff, that stuff. He liked that stuff. That was his favorite Kirby. So I think it probably depends upon where you come in, I have come to really like those few jobs that he inked himself in the 50s, because you see something different when he inks himself than anybody else inking himself. Like those Green Arrow and Speedy jobs that he did. Supposedly his wife helped him on some of that stuff.
Mr. Rude, do you have an answer for that?
The favorite period to recommend to people?
Well, yeah, like your favorite Kirby piece that you would recommend to somebody to check out.
Well, if you want pure entertainment, go to the Marvel's mid-60s with Stan Lee. If you want the most personal work, which is something that resonates with anyone with a conscience, you should look up his DC work, early 70s DC work, before Carmen cut him off.
Gotcha. Awesome, thank you. And you know what? Still with me, because I told you my lore already. I'm still learning. So one of my favorite things is the Kirby Collector from Tomorrow's Publishing.
Mm.
And you get these like giant books with pencils in it. It's so good. So that's a great place to start too if you're trying to figure out where you fit in with Kirby.
I mean, there was in Marvel when I was growing up, the How to Draw Comics, the Jack Kirby way, which is what the book should have been called. I mean, that was such a house style that I was like, everything was like had this kind of Kirby background radiation to it. So just soaking up all that stuff. I think an early book I bought off the newsstand was like Devil Dinosaur, and maybe I got like a 2001: A Space Odyssey.
That's a great book. That I really love that adaptation of the movie because, you realize that he was drawing. He was looking at stills and stuff. But I mean, who else could adapt that book? I think 2 guys could adapt that book, maybe 3. Him, Steranko, or Mobius, right? But Kirby captured something in his iconography that combined with Kubrick's aesthetics, which was pretty unique when you think about it, because most movie adaptations are, I was even talking with Jerry Ordway a little bit over on Blue Sky, movie adaptations are very hard, especially in that era. People don't really realize how difficult it was, because I remember Al Williamson had literally like a 4-foot stack of stills from Blade Runner that he could work from. But I remember when Brett was doing the Indiana Jones movie adaptation, and he would get like a FedEx box and would have like these really crappy color Xeroxes, right? And you're having to draw all these scenes, some of them which had not even probably been finished yet. So you're drawing stuff. Here's there's that scene with the old knight and, all those boats on the canals of Venice. And I mean, really difficult stuff to draw, just reference wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're drawing that movie, everything is reference. Every shot is reference, right? And then it would depend on the reference that you could get. There was no videotape. There was no Google, right?
Right.
So, whatever, and what they could send you or would send you, right? So it's like, hey, we want this movie adaptation. Okay, yeah, you got 4 stills. Good luck. Jerry Ordway was saying that when he was doing the Batman, he had to do, if you go to his Blue Sky, you can see he did drawings to show to the studio to get approved. But when he was drawing Kim Basinger, he had to go find like stills from movie magazines or whatever, to get pictures so he could do his drawings of her, because it wasn't easy. So people kind of forget that.
All right, let's do an ID, guys. You're watching Pencil, your favorite live cast, brought to you on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. EST. Brought to you by your 3 expert cartoonists, JAMAR Nicholas, Mike Manley, and Stone Cold Steve Conley. Tonight we have a very special guest in the studio. We have Steve, the Dude Rude, who's hanging out with us, and we're drawing live. Where else on the internet can you get this? Nowhere else.
And can you get it for free?
That's right. Free 99.
And a reminder that tomorrow on Kickstarter, Steve Rude's latest Kickstarter will launch. And you can check out the URL if you go to steverude.com/ToonWorldAE. URL's up on the screen. You can register now to be reminded when it goes live. And there's tons of great stuff there. Rewind to the beginning of this episode to get a tremendous introduction by Janelle. And there's some really cool early bird offerings. So do check it out and sign up.
Nice, Conley. Good job. Speaking of your Kirby conversation, Tristan says, reminds me of the Matt Haley conversation we had when he was talking about the difficulties of drawing the Next Generation Star Trek comic.
Right. Yeah, I drew that, and I remember having to, like, I think they sent you some stills, and then you're looking at like Starlog or whatever, you're trying to find that stuff, and it's not easy. Also, because the actors would take turns approving each issue, so that was not easy to do. And as I relayed in that conversation, Patrick Stewart was very particular about that. It's the shape of his head, so you had to draw his head right, or he'd be like, Patrick Stewart would be angry that you didn't get the shape of his head right. His little weird peak on his head that he had.
That's kind of like that buzzard from the cartoons, right? He's got that that peak on the top of his head.
Beaky buzzard. Any more questions from the chat?
There's just people talking amongst themselves. There's a nerd question in here, and I'll try my best to answer it. Ask it. Poppin' Coca-Cola 85. Shout out to Jughead Jones. This is a question for all the guys. Who do you think would win in a fight? The Golden Guardian or Sentry in Green Giant or Hulk? You mean the Jolly Green Giant? The snap piece?
The guy shooting cosmic radiation peas at you, full of Monsanto juice.
Oh no, you just pulled that right out, didn't you? I don't know. Anyone want to take a stab at that? I'm not a big.
It totally depends upon who's writing and drawing the story.
Oh wow, I like that answer, Mike.
I think I remember Stan Lee. Somebody asking Stan Lee that question. Like, who would win if something? And he goes, it all depends upon who's writing the story.
I always mark out for the Stan Lee voice. It's so funny.
There's a quote I've heard attributed to Jack Kirby about those kind of the abstract anatomy that he would apply, like a shine or a unusual muscle grouping that kind of, and that his answer was that why do you draw it like that? And the quote was, because it looked good. And that always stuck with me. That's such a good reason, and I hope it's a true quote. Does anyone know about that one?
I don't know. But I think that when you're looking at I was looking at the way Kirby drew feet, right? And then because he always drew those very kind of squarish, he drew those very squarish feet. And then I remember seeing the pencils, and then I remember seeing Joe Sinnott's ink. And what we think of as the Kirby squiggle, that squiggle thing, you look at his stuff before Sinnott was inking him, and there was a wedginess, but it wasn't as squiggly. That's something that evolved over that period of him working with Sinnott. That what we think of as a squiggle, because you look at if you go through those old Kirby collectors, it would be a really interesting thing for people to do that, to like line it up and then go through like from 57 to 64 and look at the evolution of his drawing and the stylization that we come to think of as the standard Kirby squiggle. There were not as many squiggles. If you go back, you look at the Fighting American, you look at all, there was always, his distortion. But, I think because he was working and doing so much stuff that he got into a rhythm, I don't know what Steve thinks of that.
Which Steve?
You, Mr. Rude.
Well, the squiggles came about because when Kirby worked, working so fast, he hit up on something that he liked that looked good, and he just kept using it. And as time went on, and people did less and less to make him feel secure in what he was doing, he just started to get carried away with his mannerisms.
Mm.
Did you ever study that stuff? Like study the evolution of his mannerisms?
Yeah, sure. I've got tons of sheets here. God, I just hate this thing. I can't even see what I'm doing here. This goddamn thing is counterintuitive and it's driving me nuts. It's like looking in a mirror and trying to adjust it from there. It's not working. So I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to back up and see the whole damn thing here,
Okay.
which is partially working here. But there, that's the way it looks like right there.
There you go. Hold on one
But I'm
second.
having to hand hold it to do that.
That's great.
And it's reversed. Why is it reversed?
It's probably reversed on your screen. I think it's correct on our screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very sloppy. It's very fast, and that's the way this piece pretty much turned out. There's not much more to add to it than that.
The impact, the weight.
Yeah, that's what I'm after. There's not much more you can do with it except for just, block it in fast and get it down fast.
Yeah. It's always interesting to take something like that, which is graphic. You have a very natural way of drawing and indicating volume and space. And Kirby's whole thing is distortion, right? It's an impression of space. It's not, because even within the entire figure, it's not always consistent. Like Loomis or somebody, or even Neil Adams. He really breaks. It's almost like cubism, where he's breaking the space so much, and then you try to put volume into it. So,
well, guys, I'm going to do our first countdown of the night as we're running out of time. So it is 9:30. So let's probably give another 15 so minutes, start wrapping up so we can get out of here on time. And thanks again to Mr. Rude for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you're enjoying yourself, sir.
I had a really bad day.
I'm sorry to hear
So, yeah, this thing's really pissed me off today. So I'm capable of faking emotion, so that doesn't come across too well sometimes.
that. We take it as it comes, but we appreciate you. Who haven't I picked on? Let's see what Mike's doing. All right, Mike. Oh, it's coming together, my friend.
yeah, you gotta get in there. And to me, the one thing about the hardest thing about the thing is you got to get the shapes just right. It's that weird sense of chunky distortion, and you want some anatomy. But the thing is Kirby, he never, it wasn't like an animation model sheet where there's always a lump here and always a lump there and always a lump here and always a lump there. I mean, it was always different, but it always looked cool. So it's sort of like figuring out how you're going to make your cool lumps,
Did he create model sheets? Was there no? I assume there was no time, but did he create model sheets? Did he ever sculpt anything?
I don't ever remember seeing a model sheet. And I think even when you like look at the Kirby collector and you look at a lot of his pencils and stuff, I mean, he would forget the thing on Thor's head or the way the belt buckle was or whatever. And that was the thing that the inker did. Came in and said, "Oh nope, you know the wings are this way or that way," because he was just like a machine. He was just moving along, so he was not. I don't think he was ever really. That was not his thing. Like, you know, drawing on model. There is no such thing as drawing on model with Jack Kirby. It's like whatever he drew was on model, even if it was not necessarily consistent compared to, you know, what he just drew. Like he never said, "Oh, there's only 15 bricks on the thing's arm."
Right.
He never, you know, there's only 10 bricks on the top of his head, and they're all like, you know, like this. No, it's never. It's always what looks good. So, you know, he's a real cartoonist. You know.
I can I feel that in a couple of ways. You know, it's very tough sometimes for you to say, "Hey, you know what? That's not super important to me." You know, especially when now we live in a world where everybody is so hung up on detail, and I say that with air quotes. You know what I mean? Like if you have to draw 17 grommets in Captain America's boot, you know.
That takes, you know, as much as I love, you know, Alex Raymond and Neil Adams and Russ Heath and guys are very realistic, I don't think they ever let that limit them, you know.
Mhm.
Hey guys, this is Janelle. Steve left, so he is done for the night.
Oh, he rolled out. Okay.
He just rolled out, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Janelle. I appreciate it. We're going to wrap up the show, and thanks so much for you guys coming back on. We're going to do one more plug for your Kickstarter.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Thank you so much. Please thank Steve for us.
Yeah, thanks Steve for us, and tell him we understand the frustration.
Yeah, we couldn't get it to Zoom, and he is kind of a perfectionist with those things. So
Sure.
if it's not working right, it's not working. So
All right, great. Well, let's take one last shot at his board before we say goodnight. It's fantastic.
yeah, I can leave it running. No big deal.
Okay, yeah, we'll leave it run, and we'll say goodnight at 10. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, let me check in on my cohorts here. Steve Conley. Hold on. I gotta do some stuff here. Steve now you're the only Steve again, Steve. Hold on. Everything just disappeared. What happened? Before. All right, hold on. Something's happening. All right, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I love what Steve did. I mean, yeah, it's a shame about the technical problems in the day he was having, but it was so nice of him to be here and to share that process with us. That's great.
So all of a sudden it won't let me.
All right, I'll remove other media streams from the stage. How about that? You
Yeah,
seen the same area?
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna take Steve off and put you on now. Yeah. I think we glitched out.
Yay!
What a great way to end the stream. Fear of Talking Sword said, "Thank you guys. Really glad we got today's episode. Thank you so much, Fear of Talking Sword."
And Fear of Talking Swords, that artwork, that's a Chris Bailey drawing of Sir Quimp, I believe. I'm not sure where. I think I'm fairly certain that's unless I'm not sure where that came from, but that's fantastic.
Isn't that wild when you see your stuff and you're not sure where it came from?
I'm gonna try to unshare my screen and see if I can reshare it. All right.
All right. What did you do?
Silver Star. Oh, I unsubscribed. I unshared my screen and then shared it again.
I like
And
you unsubscribed. Yeah.
Maybe that will allow us to. Yeah, then we're back in business.
And thanks again to the Rudes.
Yeah, right. Great. And I'm going to put up some preview images from their Kickstarter, which again launches tomorrow at 10 a.m. Here's the. Look at all that. That's the print that everyone gets, and then some collectible cards and the front and back of the bookmark. And there's also a Nexus sticker. I have to back the campaign just for the Nexus sticker. That's awesome. And because this weekend is Free Comic Book Day, Saturday's Free Comic Book Day. Go to freecomicbookday.com to find participating comic book stores. You can go in there and get a free comic or two. Each store is a little different, but a lot of people leave with handfuls of free comics. But to celebrate that, they've got this special offer. You can find out all the details at their Kickstarter page, and you can check that out at steverude.com/ThoonWorldAE, like artist edition.
I love it.
I heard that there was a issue, I guess, with Free Comic Book Day this year because
Because of the diamond stuff.
Yeah, and there was like a copyright issue or something with calling it Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, I think Diamond owned the trademark, and so
Yeah.
I think when we had Joe Murray on, I think they were talking about possibly making sure it could be continued into the future.
So is this like they're just going rogue this year? Is that
No, it actually is owned, and so it is it was a Free Comic Book Day logo. It's all. I think you have to be part of the official organization to use the logo and call it a Free Comic Book Day book, technically. But I do think there are other publishers who are taking part. I don't know, riding the coattails of the event and making books available.
Gotcha. Steve, are you appearing at any?
I am.
Any stores?
I will be at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles in Reisterstown, Maryland, with America's Tom Zoller, of all people.
Nice. America, this is you.
I'm excited to see him. That was the shop I would be at every year. I think I only missed it. I've started missing events because of health problems. Because I'm so far out of warranty now. But I missed it last year, but I'm excited to go back this year.
You got to renew your AAA before you go, Steve.
That's so funny. That reminds me of the one year we were all there together and someone took a picture and I said, unlock your secret NBA Jam team.
Yeah, I haven't done a Free Comic Book Day in a long time.
Yeah, I don't have a free comic. I've looked into participating and making comics for it, but every year there's one more unusual trauma happening in the distribution system, so I never take part. So maybe next year. I'd love to make a Free Comic Book Day version of The Middle Age to give away to everybody.
How would you be able to do that? Would you have to like kickstart it, or how would that work?
Well, no, you have to pitch your project to Free Comic Book Day. Back when Diamond had it, this was the policy, and I think it's probably the same. You say, here's the book I'd like to give away. And it has a price, and retailers have to pay that price. So when you go to Free Comic Book Day, the books weren't given by the publishers to the retailers. Usually there's just such a high quantity that's requested, like 50,000 books, 100,000 books, that the price per book comes down to a quarter, maybe less. And so, but the retailers pay all those. The retailers usually have a big sale that day. I've heard from some retailers that that's the biggest sale day of the year for them. because it brings so many people into the store, and they usually say, okay, here our statues are on sale, our toys are on sale, all our graphic novels are on sale. So it's a really good day to bring new people into the shop, and a great way to do it.
So
but-
who pays for the printing?
The publisher does, but they are paid for. But the retailers are buying the books. So you offer it through the distributor. The distributor solicits it, and they're told the cover price is free, but they have to pay. The retailer has to pay 25 cents a book or something like that.
Right.
So the retailer orders 50 copies and pays math. $15. I got that wrong. $12.50. And then they give out 50 books. And then that's enough to pay the printing bill. And so the problem was, back when I had to decide the first time, it was like, oh, we didn't even know who would be printing, if there'd be a tariff on it. There's all that mystery.
Oh, right.
And then it was, is Diamond going to be in business by the time it rolls around? But thankfully, the new organization has picked up the slack, and there'll be a free comic book day. So I'm just going to go there. I'll draw free sketches for kids. I'll have my books available for sale if anybody wants them.
And where is this?
The one I'm in is in Reisterstown, Maryland.
So are you driving or are you flying up?
I'm going to fly it.
Any questions from the chat?
Sandra Peel says, that is my doom.
This is everyone's doom.
If you are on the YouTubes or in the Facebooks, however you're watching us, please do click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. That helps us, algorithms, etc. Thanks for the stream, guys. Love your art. Love all your artworks. Wish I was as talented like you guys. That's very kind. It is just practice. I invite you to pick up my comics from 1994. You can tell it's not talent. It was anything I've done right is not something I was born with.
Oh, Steve. Oh, you.
Oh, Steve.
Oh, Steve.
It honestly is awful.
Oh no.
Empirically awful.
So
That's
this
great,
thank you. This is cool. I'm glad that we did this. Again, shout out to Tristan, who was the brainchild behind this idea. I think we gotta do more of these, right?
Yeah, we have to figure out who else do we invite on to do our live draw. Who would you guys like to see?
Yeah, chat. Who should we have on Pencil to Pencil Draw and Jaw with with special guest David Hasselhoff?
That's right. I hear he really does a great Kirby. Have him come on and draw Knight Rider.
I love it. People. I was thinking maybe it's easiest if we have people that we've had on the show before, because there's a little bit of a trust there, right? It's like oh, okay, sure, I love you guys, I'd love to do it. Sandra Peel in the chat said Paul Chadwick.
Oh wow.
Yeah, okay, put that in our pocket.
Yeah, Paul Chadwick, great.
Steve Bissett.
I like that idea because have you ever seen that podcast about, I don't know how to pronounce the fellow's last name. He's been in a bunch of James Gunn films. David Deschanel. He has a podcast, YouTube podcast where he interviews people, and they both are laying in coffins the whole time.
I just saw that.
And
he had McFarlane on there, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did. And
we can do that. Let's get Kyle Baker back.
Coffins.
Let's get Kyle Baker back one.
well, yeah, Kyle Baker would be great. But I feel like that's because the process of having all these screens going and all that stuff could interfere with our ability to learn their origin story. And this is the perfect second visit.
Yeah. Well, we had Kyle on before.
Yeah.
So that'd be great. Yeah. D Fish is ordering people around in the chat.
But Paul Chadwick would be great. I ran into him at one of my first shows, and he was extremely kind and supportive, like back in like Comic Fest '94 or something like that.
Oh wow!
In Philly.
I think I'm friends with him on Blue.
Oh, how about Larson?
Yeah,
Larson would be great. See, and this is cool because it kind of reinvigorates our whole roster of guests again.
But would he be able to set up something where he could draw live?
Right.
That's the technical hurdle for many people.
Yeah, speed would be great too. Yeah, like you have to think about like some of the guests have more digital studios and are kind of used to doing that kind of stuff, and other people it's kind of like inventing fire. We don't want to frustrate anybody, but ask. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, and drawing can be frustrating enough.
Yeah, like you said, like some people don't want to draw live, like me.
Like some people don't even want to talk live, so
that's true.
So you add the hump of.
It is. I mean, we're used to it because if you end up teaching, you end up learning to talk and draw at the same time, and if you don't have that ability to sort of split your brain, it can be very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's very frustrating for some people to try to do it. It's like kind of nerve-wracking for some people, And
that's a great idea too. Jeff Yoon says, love to see how Ken and James inks his work.
Oh yeah. All these are great ideas. Kevin Eastman. There you go. I love it. I love that we all, let's throw those names out because, if you know my screed, nothing is impossible. We make things happen. Here's another shot at Steve's drawing table. What a fantastic piece that he banged out for us. Very excited. We'll have to have Steve on again in the future. Okay. I just lost my screen. It just fell off. I was telling my co-hosts here before we went on. What is this? That it's almost time for me to get a new digital device. Hold on, D Fish. Hold on. Oh, what's up, King B? Would also love to see some newspaper magazine cartoonists drawing as well. Well, you got Mike Manley right here, newspaper guy. But yeah, that's also a thing where we have been trying to shake up our guests. I've had a nice little run of graphic novelists, also some newspaper people, and some of your comic impresarios on. So you know what? It's also very encouraging that so many of you want to see more of this. So we're going to keep peppering our content as we go ahead. There'll be interviews. There'll also be just you with your favorite 3 expert cartoonists. So Ask the Cartoonist will come back. Draw and Jaw just with us, no special guest on knots. We can still do that. And also other things in between. So we're full of surprises. That was my Luke Skywalker.
And I do think there's just drawing. It's just so great. And I almost broke out Procreate Nomad Sculpt to sculpt a Kirby creation while we were working.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
You can mix it up.
I mean,
I think it's strong. It's just so great. And I almost can't broke out Procreate to I don't know, Nomad Sculpt to sculpt a Kirby creation while we were working. Yeah.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
You can mix it up.
I love it. All right. Well, I think this might be around the time we pencils down.
Yeah. And
Uh,
we'll share these on our socials for sure.
yeah. Hold on. Let me get the graphic. This is my favorite part. Pencils down. All right. So let's do one last thing. Let's see Manley's. Oh,
I'm almost done.
Mike almost finished. Look at that.
That's great.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm almost done. I gotta work on a little bit more, and then so I'll finish this, and then I'll post it on my socials.
Looks good, bro. All right, and now Stone Cold, where we at?
Well, see a little bit of process here. We leave the blue there. We had the initial sketch. Then
Then you got to add all the Kirby flair, the dots and the flashes and the lines and the
Clavin.
and then I lighten it up again, and then I ink on top, and that's my overwrought process.
Oh, that's tight, man. Looking good. And Steve, are you planning on finishing this, or are you just going to flush it after this episode?
I'll post a portion of it, but I got some flights on Friday. I'm hoping I'll finish it then. I got some deadlines to beat before I hit the road.
Yeah, word up.
You can finish it up while you're flying, right?
Yeah, and I'd like a nice layover. I get more work done.
All right. And
Look at that. Look at that.
Richards!
No one defeats Doom.
So yeah, this is where I was going with it. So yeah, I think I'm going to try to finish this up. Maybe I'll slap some color on it. Yeah.
You're going to do some fancy zipatone screen color.
Yeah, I could do some zip. That'll be dope. This was a fun episode. Doom says, subscribe to the channel.
and one last plug for our wonderful guest Kickstarter. Doom says, go to Steve Root's Kickstarter at steveroot.com/ToonWorldAE. It launches tomorrow, 10 a.m. They got great stuff for the people who sign up within the first hour. And then also, if you miss that first hour, sorry, but do sign up for a reminder. In that first 48 hours or 72 hours, there's going to be an amazing offer that they have for people who sign up. It's just beautiful. And thanks to Janelle and Steve for coming by.
Yes. Despite all the frustration and technical difficulties, it was a great episode. It was an opportunity for everybody to see 4 different processes and thinking processes, because to me that's I watch, if I can, I usually watch Steve's live stream because I like watching other people draw. You know what I mean? To me, that's always fascinating to see somebody else's thought process.
I love it. All right, guys, let's start wrapping this up. Once again, thank you to the Rudes. You guys have a great night. I'm going to eject them from the stream. You guys have a great night. Thanks so much. All right, and guys, we got some great props from Ray Anthony Height. Hello, Ray. Nicely done, guys. Well, thank you for your eyeballs. And D Fish, what a great phrase. Doom requires your thumbs. Like and subscribe or be destroyed. Richards. That's fun. So, guys, thank you, Jeff. Great stream too, guys. People like when we draw. Who would have thunk it? All right, guys. Let's start wrapping it up. Let's clear the decks here and get you guys ready for expulsion. Guys, I have it on good notice that the new Sorcerer Supreme. You know him, Dr. Walnuts. In his crushed velvet tracksuit and the eye of Agamotto around his neck.
Agamotto.
He goes, Quasimodo predicted all of this. And what Quasimodo predicted is that we may be in the end game. So it would behoove you on Jack Kirby night. Look at that. As we go to that cold night, remember to wash those Kirby hands. Thank you. Thanks again to the Rudes. We'll let you guys know what we're doing next week when we figure it out. Have a great night. Thanks, you guys. See you on